Yeah, but
you're
no, I was just
also
thinking like,
you're also not limited. So the people that were offering the $50 to watch the Melania movie basically said you could just sit there and keep watching it. So if you watched it 4 times, you got $200.
Yeah, and then I'd
wow.
immediately go to Walmart, drop that $200 on rope, and hang myself for wasting that kind of time.
And you've just said that live on stream. Thank you, Cam. Welcome to UK
You didn't tell me we were
versus.
going live.
I couldn't get a word in. You were too busy complaining about the Melania movie. So, welcome to
Fuck it, we do
UK
it live.
versus. We're here with the amazing Combat X Power. We're going to be talking a little bit about the setup in San Antonio, how it is in Texas, some of the amazing events and plays they have within there, and if we get a chance, also talk about the new Godzilla set. And if you're a Godzilla fan or a new player coming into the game from Godzilla, where you can where you should be starting looking at your universe's, I guess, progression. I'm, of course, always joined by now outed Trump hater and Melania movie connoisseur Cam, who chose to watch Iron Lung instead of Melania. And we're joined by Juan Antonio, the, I'm just going to say, the player who's got the best XR character collection in the game because of where he's situated and what he has access to. But we'll get into that
Oh
as we go down.
Lord.
So, how's your week been, Cam?
It's been stressful. It's been cold. Lots of snow and ice and below freezing temperatures, which I am, as a desert person, not a fan of. Uh, but I'm still here. And I did get to introduce 2 new players to the game that came back after a demo, but they've been dealing with like some stuff with work, and then of course the cold froze them out. But they came by the shop yesterday, and we got to sit down and jam some games and build some decks for them, and they're really excited to continue the game.
That's absolutely awesome. And Juan Antonio, how's your week been?
Oh, it's been wonderful, dude. We've been, just doing roller coasters normal, getting ready for everything that's coming out. So both getting ready for Worlds at the same time getting ready for the new Godzilla set, which is bringing a lot of curious eyes into the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, World is a month away. It's the end of the month, so we're talking 4 weeks from this point. How's the team preparing, and how, did the pre-ban list affect what you guys were going to be playing?
I think it only affected one of her players. One of her players was very heavy on unyielding, and he was trying to use that as a strategy. And after the ban list, is like, ah, Lord. But uh, all of us, we didn't really hit it. We were kind of like getting ready for it. So we had plans of like, okay, cool. This is our plan if nothing gets hit, and then this is our plan if anything gets hit. So we're still good. Luckily, our numbers keep doubling. So like last year, we only had like 2 members at Worlds. This year, we have 4,
Oh,
and so we have like four official members joining in into the main event. 2 of us on day 1, 2 of us on day 2 already, and
Wow.
then our other members are going for the side events, trying to get all of other things, but also getting our sponsors to get the shop ready, making sure that everybody gets like a lot of cool stuff.
yeah. I mean, getting into the side events, getting those amazing uncut sheets, those exclusive promos, the playmats. I mean, the Mighty Blitz playmat is one I'm desperately after. The sidewall itself is more than worth for people to be going. Out of the 4 players going, is Boilmer one of them?
Of course, he's one of the ones that he's actually day 2.
He's data. Is he playing Boilmer? Because he can do what I did with Dabby, and after this event, if he plays Boilmer, he can claim to be the world's best Boilmer player for the entire year.
Oh boy, do I have a story to tell you. I think we did throw him for that part already.
Oh no!
uh we one point, man, I want to say it was about 3 4 months ago. We decided, hey, wouldn't it be funny if one locals, we just all showed up as Boimler and just played nothing but Boimler, and then we just did that, went throughout the entire locals playing Boimler, and then one of us managed to actually like he had no clue what was going on. That was the best part. Like Nolan just showed up and was like, "Why is everybody wearing red? Why is everybody what's going on?" And it's like, "Why is everybody playing Boimler 1? Why is there Boimler 2?" And it was a fun time. However, we are trying to get him or trying to convince him to see if he can do like some Boimler decks for Worlds, at least for like the side events, like at least that part getting covered.
Yeah.
As far as for the main event, though, I think that's something that we're still deciding what to
Ah.
figure out for that, at least for him. So he's still figuring that out, sadly. But I'll relay the message that he may need to confirm to be the best Boimler at Worlds.
I mean, if anyone wants to influence his decision, you can head over to the Deck Check YouTube and just spam his comments with "Play Boimler at Worlds, coward."
Correct, correct. We already say that, but we need more people telling him that. However,
Exactly.
he does have a unique sticker. So if anybody spots him at Worlds, he will have a very unique sticker if you get to fight him. So keep an eye on Nolan for sure.
Oh, it's awesome to see more people doing that. When I went to Worlds, I took my Dabby in a Florida outfit from The Simpsons. If I was going to go to Texas, I'd have made something else. And then you also got Jacob, who just always has some kind of very cool Nomu inspired or Final Round inspired one. So it's great to see more people steering into their brand. Now, your team is quite a cool one. You, as far as I'm aware, you kind of popped up out of nowhere. But we got chatting at Albuquerque, and unfortunately the audio for that got corrupted. But you're in a very cool position where you are in San Antonio, where you've got four locals, each playing a multitude of formats, and they all play on different days. So you've got quite like an active scene.
Yes, yes. We have. I remember. I don't remember what were the exact stats, but I want to say that if I recall correctly, we're the second biggest community in all of the U.S., fourth in the world, if I was told correctly. I think we only got beaten up by one locals over in New York, and then like the other ones that beat both of us, they're like in Spain, if I'm not wrong.
Oh yeah.
We do have like two, no, three locals that pop off very often. We are lucky enough to have one locals meant only for competitives. We have one locals meant for retro slash legacy, and then one locals that we do for just like for fun and play test.
That's absolutely
That's
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, Team Warning over in Spain is possibly the biggest. At the moment, this weekend they have their kind of like community event going on, and they've had to rearrange every other event that was meant to be happening this weekend because 35 players turned up yesterday to play Hero 2.
Yes, yes, we keep hearing those numbers, and we're like, all right, we need to figure out a way to like step up, and we're trying to raise numbers. We have a solid average of between like 12 to 16 players that we get to play in our locals, and we're still trying to figure out like how to make them better.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that we have going on with that is that they're not like the same players. Like we will get 12 in one place and then another different set of 12 in another place and then different ones. So if we were to combine them, yeah, it gets a little bit bigger, but we're trying to like I think it's only on special events like pre-releases or like local championships when they actually kind of like want to get together.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to figure out ways to like we've done so many things for the community to make eyes turn towards the game or make sure like hey expose the game a little bit more to different players. And if there's a way that we can help out any other community as well, I'd love to give any advice. I mean, I've been doing this for about 5 years, growing this community from scratch. Like there was zero community in San Antonio, and now we're like this big.
That's absolutely awesome. And yeah, we'll definitely touch on that because it's kind of what we were talking about when you were like saying getting you on to have this conversation. But there is, like you said, you've got these four stars. Not everybody is able to travel between stars. It's really cool. Each star kind of has its focus. It's weird to see people playing Legacy. That is a wild format. But But there is one other thing you have in your local vicinity, which is a massive boon to your locals as well as your collectability. And I remember you saying that the Crunchyroll offices are just down the road from one of these locals, and sometimes the voice actors and people from the company pop in, and you've got some of the shiniest signed cards out there.
Yes, yes, indeed. Here in San Antonio, we have the Crunchyroll offices not that far away, and therefore we get a lot of visits. Literally, just today, I just saw Phil Parsons, the voice actor who does Kenny Ackerman, and he also does Ingenium as well. And I'm like, I just got him signed, like it's in my backpack. And outside of that, like every month we have a smaller cons that we take advantage of. We like, hey, can we set up a booth, teach, expose the game a little bit more, and do that little grain of sand to like help out the game a little bit more. And then it's like every 3 or 4 months that we get a bigger convention. Like so like for example, the small one that I just came from, it's kind of like on a mall where like it's only like takes about like half the mall, and there's like smaller booths, and then there's like a room filled with like 5 or 6 voice actors, and out of the 6 there's like 2 big ones, and then like 4 that are like up and comers. And then on the bigger conventions, they're more like you know thousands of people showing up, and comes in with like the big names for the voice actors and everything. So that it is this very unique scenario, I have to say. But there's a binder that I'm working on that I've shown to some people.
Yeah,
I know for sure I showed you,
you did.
where
Yeah,
it's full like like all of the characters that the people that I've met. It's like sometimes I don't even have to go out of my way. Like I could just like, oh cool, I'm showing up to my locals, and there's this voice actor like 10, 15 minutes away. All right, just give me a second. Let me go over there. Can you sign my character? Thank you very much. And then we just put that in the binder and just continue on.
yeah. No, it's
So what
really
you're
cool.
saying is, if we want to get voice actors at like regionals and stuff, then we should probably have UVS Games come over and visit your guys' stores because you guys have the hookup.
We've done it before, actually. Rico
Yeah.
Fajardo went to nationals after I have a small talk with him at one of her events. Another one was Zena Robinson as well. That is like, hey, dude, do you just want to show up? So like, there's situations that have already happened after we talked to them. But so
Oh,
some of them can be kind of crazy, or like have events scheduled up. But yeah, there's our community is some of us, they call it like a silent giant. We've been there roaming, done a lot of things, and people don't know us until we actually like show up and like, hey guys, it's us.
yeah. Zeno Robinson was a huge get for Worlds 2023. It what was it? Yeah, it was 2023. It was it was absolutely amazing to see Zeno Robinson. I've still got my signed Hawks. We had Cal Phillips, the voice actor for Denki, at the HLC, the first World since the UVS took over, as well as Mount Lady and Eraserhead, and
So
it's a great thing to have. Like we've got the Critical Role cast coming to MCM London this year, and I'm like, if we can get the game there, we can literally have people coming to the MCM for Critical Role, and then if we advertise that we have a Critical Role card game, because a couple weeks ago I was just in London for Grand Archive Ascent because I was invited down, and there was a MegaCon happening at the same time, and I don't know if you've ever been to a Comic Con, Cam, but there's nowhere to sit. And if you see this hall with a bunch of empty seats that no one's checking you to come in, you go and sit down. And while you sat down, if you see people playing the cards and you see like all this anime art style, you go, yeah, I'll give it a demo, see if I like it. And that's kind of it's what we should be doing. We should have universes not in hotel lobbies or these like conference rooms. We should be opposite Comic Cons, like what you guys are doing. We should be there demonstrating the game, finding people that are already interested in the IPs, and going, well, come check out what's going on in this game where we've got Attack on Titan, Fairy Tail, Mortal Kombat, Godzilla, all these cool IPs.
Invincible.
Invincible
Yes,
at some point.
yes.
Very excited for that.
I do have to say, even though, like for example, in the city, as I mentioned, there's a lot of conventions going on, but this is, for example, this is not the only city that's it. Plenty of different cities all around the world. They have their own small conventions. They don't have to be super, super huge.
No.
My biggest recommendation is like if you know there's an up and coming convention, that you see somewhere posted like, hey, this small or medium or whatever size convention, this convention's coming in. Hey, uh, sometimes they do reach out so that way, like, as a vendor or something, you don't have to be a vendor. Like I don't vend, I don't sell anything. A lot of times I'm not even charged. All I do is go to the convention. I send them an email, or if possible, sometimes they'll have like little desk where they promote themselves. You go to the desk and be like, hey, I am interested in doing a booth to teach people this card game. And you go up them, ask them, and a lot of the times, like 90%, they'll say like, sure, just send us an email with your information, how much, and then they'll give you a booth because all they want is it's kind of like, make sure that it's a place to pop off. They want people to have fun. So all it takes is for you to reach out, tell them I am interested in having a booth. I'm not selling anything. I'm just here to do demos and teach people how to do this cool fun game. And then voila, it's simple as that. And then sometimes they'll provide you with a table, and if not, you can just bring a table with a little cloth. I remember my first times I actually had to like I didn't have anything. I have to like use a cardboard sign to do like, hey, try this cool game, and had like a couple of binders with the cards with characters so people can see some of the mats. So that way some people can see the arts. And it's as simple as that. People will walk by, see what's going on. They think you're a shop, and you're like, hey, I'm not a shop. I'm here to teach this cool card game. Do you have like 10, 15 minutes? And then you sit down, do a small demo, and it's simple as that. You may do
Yeah.
that for every 10, 15 people, about like 3 or 4 will probably show up to your next locals.
It's similar to what
I
we
actually
do.
did that with an anime convention here in
Ah,
Oklahoma. I was working with a card shop, and they were like, "Yeah, we have a booth there at Tokyo and Tulsa every year. Do you want to come work for us for a weekend demoing Universes?" And I was like, "Sure." And I was not ready for teaching Universes for 14 hours a day for 3 days straight. It was just me, one buddy, and we had a giant Mortal Kombat card that they had got for a store preview thing, and
Shinnok?
that's kind
Nice.
of just how we advertised. And no, it was a one of Cassie's foundations.
Ooh.
And then for this year, I got reached out to by the son of an owner of a convention who wants me to have a demo booth for Universus. He's like, "Do you think you could get a team together?" I'm like, "Maybe. I don't know. I don't know people. I'll see what I can do."
Oh yeah. For that, I could recommend ask your local people. Your local people is like, hey, do you want to help me volunteer? A lot of times they have to be just volunteers. There be people willing to just spend an entire day with you. Some people, let's say that if it's a 2-day weekend event, some people will be like, hey, I can only be there Saturday, and then you're like, all right, cool, help me out Saturday, and that's fine. Other people will say like, hey, I'm gonna be there only Sunday. That's fine. Some people can do both. And then if you have a team of like 3, 4 people, you should be okay because at that point you can be like, hey, for like 3, 4 hours you can handle the booth, and then go on break or explore around, do whatever, and then it gives you a lot of free time. If the more people to help you out, I think on average it's like 4 or 5 that usually end up helping me out at a booth and gives us like a solid, half time do, help me out, half time do whatever I want.
Yeah, I've got about 6, I think, on my team so far. And then we're just waiting for more information about the con, like days, times, and stuff, for them to get back to us. And then we're getting the local store that's in Norman, Oklahoma, is going to be sending us a bunch of product to sell or give away, like some older stuff, and make up some flyers so that be like, hey, if you're still here in Oklahoma and you want to learn how to play, if you enjoy this, this is where we play, and we can help with the store because they don't really have a con booth anymore because they used to travel, but they don't. But we're gonna put something together for them, and it's gonna be fun.
Nice. That's always good. That's always good. I know it whenever anyone's starting, it's always just to the basics, hey, it's just a demo, that's it. Over
My problem
time,
is
yes.
I'm not extroverted. I am such an introvert, and I'm the most extroverted of my crew. And that's
Honestly,
bad. I have to become basically a carnival barker, and
dude,
it's weird.
I feel you. I feel you so much because that's as much as people would not believe. Even some of the people within my community don't believe it. I am exactly like that. That is the reason why I don't really make, you know, a lot. That's why probably I'm not that known because I don't go out and talk a lot more. I'm not very extroverted as much. Like I can be with the right people. Like if you're my friend, cool. Or if I see someone that I know, if I already know you, yeah, cool. I can probably talk a little bit more. But I have to force myself as well sometimes. I know how difficult it is to be like, hey, I don't want to do this, but like just jump to it. I definitely feel that a lot of times in the booth, some of my friends help me out a lot more. They're the ones that talk a lot more, and I'm just there, be like, hey, I'm here to like answer questions and do a lot of things. But yes,
Yeah, it
I
definitely
feel
feels
that.
like I'm putting on like an act or a persona, because my friends will see me like doing demos with people and cracking jokes, and they're like, "Who are you? You're not the
Yeah,
guy that normally plays with us." And then the new people will like leave or go to the other room, and I'll just sit down and just collapse. I'm
Yeah,
like, I am so tired.
it's
It
the
takes
same
so
thing that
much out of me to
happens.
do this.
It's the same that happens at regional stuff. You kind of feed off the energy of the event, but it hits you harder.
Which is
It's
why at regionals in Louisville, I didn't do anything with anyone Sunday. I just stayed up in my room and watched Law and Order and only left to get Subway. That's it. I was like, I'm tired. I've been around too many people.
yeah. Now, one thing you did mention that is actually very helpful, it's that you mentioned giveaways or like do product. That is something that I've done as well. I back when it was just MHA, I would find like cheap Funkos, but like for example, when the overhaul set came out, I was like, oh cool, this $10 Airy Pop. I will come out and be like, hey, I'm gonna do just give us a follow, join our Discord, and I'll put your number ticket in a raffle, and then later on I'll give out this free pop. Or hey, if you do a demo with us, you get a free item. If well, little lottery ticket thing. I know once we got more help, once we grew into a larger way, we started giving out decks. Like, hey, cool, you're planning to join to our locals. If you try our demo with us, come by to our next locals, and our shop will give you a free deck of your choosing, or one of the, like the Ochako or Toga ones. That was a way to like get more people involved. And then this is also something that we started doing because, you're sitting there for, as you mentioned, about 10, 12 hours. You need something
A
to do. You need something like,
lifetime.
to be like, oh, I don't want to be bored doing the same thing over and over. Sometimes we would do like little fun events because there's times where someone learns the game. They're like, all right, I love the demo. I like what's going on. Can I get a game on? And you're like, all right, cool. We started doing like our own decks at first. Then later on, we started doing, little boss battles. Uh, Over time, for example, I ended up making my own set to be like, hey, I love Zenless Zone Zero. Cool. I made a bunch of characters. I made a bunch of attacks, foundations, assets, an entire set just to like play test with people who are like, hey, this is how it can kind of go. And then as for as well, like, oh, cool, you want to win something? We grab a bunch of our bulk. Like if people that have like a bunch of bulk, we made decks like they were bare minimum 60 with just like a bunch of our bulk left and be like, hey, thank you for showing up. Here's a free deck that we can give out just for free. So there's multiple ways or multiple ideas that you can do out to kind of like give that a little bit more of an incentive to like keep a interest in the game.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's always
Before
how I've done demos where oh,
go-
sorry, Brett.
before Levi joined the company, he was one of our best content creators, and he did a whole series of making a starter deck for every character in the game, like in standard at that point. And it was just built like it was following the starter deck kind of thing. So it had like one or two URs, and everything else was a bit of a So basically, if a local rocked up was like, "Oh, I'm a big Kirishima fan is like, cool. I've got there's two Kirishimas in the game. I've got a star deck for either one. What do you want to try out? It's like, oh, it was a lot of work, and he put it all up on there. And I don't think with the 500 odd characters we currently have, it's something that was maintainable. But it's really cool. We've got a few questions from chat coming on here. We'll start off with Cohen because he's been very nice on there. Cohen, I'm not coming to Worlds primarily because it's not a safe place for people who are not Americans. I've been quite avid on this. I watched the Pokemon National World Championships, and people were being turned away at the border who just wanted to play the game. And although myself, as a cis white man, would be quite safe, I don't feel comfortable going if anyone I know, anyone in the community doesn't feel safe going. So that's just my personal opinion. After that, they're asking who we think will top Worlds, and we
Like
kind of
character wise or player wise?
it just says who. It just says what do you think will top Worlds. So I'm going to say character wise. Uh, we did have this discussion last week, kind of when we were talking about prepping for Worlds. But Juan, what characters have you got your eyes on that you're kind of preparing to take on at Worlds?
That is a rough question as well. We've been debating about that one, right? Because we've seen, like, for example, Dark Deku taking quite the the scene. We've been looking at a lot of Rodan characters just being like, all right, cool, this control decks. A lot of the aggros for, like, for example, Mikasa, that is like being full aggro. Or even in the other decks like Krista, or what was the other deck? Remember this one, but I think those are like the ones that we're like keeping an eye on to be like, this is what's getting played the most. Um, we're trying to see. We haven't seen Godzilla's as much often. Like we thought, like, oh, cool, as tension got introduced, maybe we're gonna start playing Godzilla, but we didn't really see that much happening. So we're kind of like keeping an eye as well. Yes, usually a lot of aggro characters are all in, and like if they don't kill, then you're getting the swing back, and it's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah.
Correct. He's our second team member that made it to day two. So if he's on day one, then he has to make sure he tops to see Matthew on day two. Or if he's already on day two, then yes, he'll be ready. Matthew is probably one of our members that is like kind of like very much like he kind of knows what he's doing. Like he knows what he wants to play.
Oh,
Should I say more accurately?
makes a lot of sense. I mean, we kind of had this discussion last week. We were talking about the dark horse picks and the meta adjacent picks, and yeah, we know that some people are going to be rocking up with Dark Deku. You're going to see a run of Godzilla because Godzilla has unyielding on face once per game. Uh, I think we're going to see Jacob Johnson and Matt Tyner pop up. It's the meta's kind of wide open.
It's very the new ban list for sure made it sure that like now a lot of things can be played now, which is why we've been like messing around with a lot of decks. I know this is like what one thing that we do over our locals is we do try to play like we don't isolate ourselves. We just don't we have a lot of things going on that we just don't look at other things outside of our circle. So we have grown to see a lot of unique characters in the spotlight that have seen like a lot of insane plays. But then we're like, all right, cool. But how is that going to compare against like all the meta characters? So how is that going to work out? But it has also given us a lot of cool, neat idea and interactions. Like we figure out a lot of things a lot more earlier, and we're able to find out like, oh, cool, this thing is kind of dumb. Like I remember you and I talked about Bash Stampede back we were in Louisville, and I wish we could have had some time to jam some games because even the Bash that I ended up playing against some of my people um, ended up like the heck's going on with this, and the only thing that was its weakness was like unyielding, and now it's gone. So it's like, all
Ooh.
right, cool, maybe there's something going on there. So
On YouTube, we got someone saying AOT Zeke from Apocalypse is going to maybe make a comeback, which is a solid kind of answer. That does kind of lead to the party bomb decks that need the time to set up and kind of sit there being hyper defensive and then just kind of blow you away with a harness on death or with a death rattle ally package. They're slow, but they can just one shot pretty much any character, which hurts. But Vashti Stampede is one I had not considered. Uh, Giving speed to everything we saw with Nick Reagan is very strong when he was playing it with Endeavour. But to move away from Worlds a little bit, uh, we talked briefly on where you to get started building a community, finding the players, going to. If you're a player, where should you be starting? Like we this year we had this year we had the Star Scrambles, which were meant to be new player friendly ways to introduce the game to new players. With your 4 stars and abundance of players being the second biggest community in in NA, did Star Scrambles achieve that for you?
ooh, so Stir Scrambles were kind of weird because yeah, they were meant to be kind of like a beginner player's first championship, but people were still wanting those top fours, right? So some of her players were like, I need those, and they started going to like a little bit more aggro and a little bit all out. But they should not, like, outside of them, they were still a lot of fun experiences to be had. Like it's still like it didn't feel like a different locals. It just felt like another locals in a sense. It was like, cool, we got a locals with premium, like, things. So we still achieved the whole, hey, on our competitive day, we went all out and we fought for those top fours. But in the local chill day, it was more like, oh, okay, cool. We're play testing whatever, and we're gonna get our stuff. And they still, try to do, our newer players at the time, they were still figuring out like, game mechanics, or they were figuring out which decks to play. So they were able to place this a lot more. But we didn't really do we would not go all out because one thing you want to ensure for new players, we're like, hey, I need you to figure out the game first, have fun, enjoy it, and then everything else is irrelevant. You want to make sure to treat those newcomers better. So even at a store scramble, we didn't treat it any differently because we want to ensure that the players have a positive experience. If you go in and destroy them all the time and you're like, I want to win or bring my best deck all the time, that is going to give a negative experience to those newcomers and they might not show up again. So
Yeah, so I a couple of weeks ago made a Riftbound video saying this exact point that if you show up to locals every single week with Master Yi, Kaisa, Dra- the new Draven when he drops, your new players, your casual players are not going to come back. And my god, the hate I got from the Riftbound community for me basically just saying, play a little bit casual all the time. There was people going in there going, I paid my $5, I should be able to just dominate every single time. Or people going, if they're playing the competitive rules, not the 1v1 rules or like the game rules, if they're playing the competitive rules, then they know what they're in for. It's like, no, it's just not how, what you're saying there is the right thing to have. It's a case of, it's cool to show up and just dominate every single week, but you're going to notice that the amount of players that show up is going to start to drop off because not everybody doesn't like losing to the same deck piloted by the same person with the same sweaty attitude, because the attitude of the player playing it is a massive factor as well. If you've got someone who's like rule sharking, hyper aggressive, treating locals like it's a regional, that's a massive issue. But
oh yeah, that is one of the reasons why we decided to divide the days for locals into like one competitive and one chill day, and that has definitely helped it out a lot more because those who, for example, are team members that need to practice, all right, cool. We'll go into a competitive day, go out, play our meta decks, play whatever other people are doing. Like, hey, I built this from someone else's list. Let's see if you can fight against it because it's your one weakness. Cool. Let's play test and you do those on our competitive locals. But
yeah,
if you're learning the game or you're trying to try out a new character or have fun, then we have our chill days for us to do that. So even if you only have one store that you go to locals, ask them, hey, can we have a second day that we can show up? So that way, one day can we focus on our decks where we need practice, and have another day that we can just focus on growing the community. Because that is also why, even though this community has existed for 5 years, we're only known in the last 2 or 3. Because those first 2 3 years, I solely focused on growing the community, on making sure everybody was had fun. Like I was a decent player that I knew what was going on like after set 2 or set 3, after like Crimson Rampage or like Heroes Clash. I knew fairly well what I was doing. I went to like a couple of regionals, but I'm not gonna bring that to my locals.
no.
I made sure that I played different characters, or if I knew I was gonna win, I didn't care about the pricing. I just cared about like, all right, cool. Hey, let's just have fun. Cool. I'm gonna pass and do whatever you need to do, so that way they have a fun time.
So we got a question
Yeah, our
from.
locals is not big enough for two different days like that, so we just have our real decks and then our new player friendly decks, and we'll swap decks out depending on who we're playing,
Well, even if your store
so we
can't,
can help teach.
even if your store can't support it, it is something you could kind of organize yourself. Because one thing people tend to forget or even not register is there's still LP and points allocation for casual play, which means even if you just want to meet up with people that are interested in learning, you can register it on UGN as casual play, get your 10 points, and just kind of not have it need to be a full on event, but you kind of just turn up to the LGS, go, do you mind putting this down as low casual play, and then just sit there teaching players how to play. We've got a question on YouTube, and this is one that's a really interesting question. It's for locals, for Star Scramble, what determines what is a new player deck? Because and it's really interesting to me because when I did my chat with the trading post, they said one question thing about this is we don't we don't get a lot of brand new players, someone who's never played a TCG before, and that's why I feel like our starter decks are. We get a lot of people that come over from other card games that have played other card games before that already have some transferable skills. So to me, it's like if we put beginner decks into tiers, challengers would be like the starter decks. and the demo decks and the starter decks would be like a -1 deck, like an introduction to the game rather than a starter.
Yeah, I can see that. Like I said, I got two brand new players. They bought the Attack on Titan starter decks, and one of them just put Mikasa 4 on top of her Mikasa deck and then had me alter some cards in it. And the other one just tore it apart and said, let's build Aaron instead. So we built Aaron from Apocalypse. And for two players who didn't know much about the game, they'd only did one demo. I will admit one of them does play a lot of different card games. The decks they built were actually not half bad. For they figured out what they wanted to do. They read the words on the cards and like, okay, this person wants weapons, this person wants furies, so let's find those words on cards, and it was pretty good. So yeah, I would agree that our starter decks are very much for people who've never played a card game before.
Yeah, I mean
But challengers would be more like, oh, you've got some experience under your belt, maybe you can handle this.
for linear decks like that want Fury or Titan or Weapon, it's kind of like just going, okay, I got Apocalypse box. This is the keyword. This is what the character wants. Shove it all in there. But like if you characters like I know or Bridget would be a little bit harder for new players to get their head around, whilst also still having that kind of accessibility. I'll let you answer the question now, one. But at the same time, we've got Toadsy in the chat saying hi, one.
Oh, hello there. I know that guy. That's our other team member.
That's the other half
The
of
other
deck
team
check.
member.
Well, it's also the other half of deck check. So
That's the other half of the deck check.
yeah, you've got Boimer, who's the face, and you've got Toadsy, who's the brains.
Yes, indeed. He's our other fella that is gonna be joining us on day one World. So make sure to also say hi to him if you get to see him over there.
I don't think anyone's going here, but you know, people in the chat, yeah. If you're going to say hi to everyone.
Yeah, but rolling a little bit back, I actually like your idea of having two decks when fighting at the locals. So, you know, hey, having a serious deck if you know that the opponent is serious, and then having a different one in case that they're like a beginner friendly, which we've tried that before and had good results. So that's a good start. It's a good solid start. So like, you know, it's good that you're doing that.
Yeah, I have my because I'm also the type of person who I don't really play like what the meta is, but I want my locals who do play competitive. They test on like TTS and online and stuff, so they kind of know where the meta is at. But I try to prepare them for the rogue stuff. I always tell them that I don't want the first time they see something to be at a regional. So I'm always bringing a new deck every week, and then I just have like the TMNT starter deck on me at all times, so that if someone's new, I could just bust that out and be like, I don't have to worry about dumbing down anything. It's just the starter deck, and it's pretty linear and chill.
Oh yeah, no, I know that feeling. Back in my backpack alone, I usually have multiple decks. Like I have like the main deck that I'm playing that day, depending on the situation. I have the demo decks, like the Arami Casa that you use just in case, like, you know, we've had situations where, you know, people walk by and like, hey, what's that game? Like, all right, cool, this is Universals. Let me teach you if you're interested. I have like, you know, my player friendly decks or something I'm play testing for fun. This is something that happens only over here, but we you know, more often I have my old retro decks in case like, hey, all right, cool, you want to play a little bit of retro, let's go ahead and do that. So like one deck for like everything that you know, depending on the situation. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm ready for a game, just tell me what time. Well, what are you in for?
Have you guys seen the lesser known Pokemon animated series where you follow Red and Blue? It's like a 4 to 6 episode anime, and it's stuck. One scene kind of stuck with me throughout the entire thing, and it's kind of like what you talk about here. Red walks into Brock's gym, and Brock goes, "Oh, how many badges you got?" And this is my first. And he gets like 6 Pokeballs. He goes, "Okay, then I just need these 2."
Yes.
And it's like that's the situation. You have your
Yeah.
decks going. What
It's
level? Yeah, how comfortable are you with the game? Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's not Chronicles.
yeah, I
I
think
think it
it's
is
Chronicles, right?
Chronicles.
Is it
But yeah,
Pokemon Chronicles?
but
Yeah,
that's
that was really cool.
but that's the
Hmm.
kind of way I see it as a
Love
case of
that scene too.
the way I play and the decks I play will reflect how comfortable you are with the game. I'm not going to go easy on you, but I will match your. I'll kind of try to match what you're doing. So I'm not going to bump out a Puma Soul equipment heist deck against you if you've been playing a week. However, if you tell me you're brand new to the game and then you pop off the Bridget Infinite combo, I'm going to be like, okay, I need to reassess.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I
It
absolutely do the same thing to where like my goal is I will never win a demo or like a practice game with a new player, but I will use it mainly as a teaching tool and I don't go all out. I'll do some fun things. Like I've got a 3M Shishiwakamaru deck and I was drawing I think I drew my first attack on turn 4. So I was already having some bad luck, but I did pull off uh Massive Mutant Machine. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna give this 5/5, and the look on my rival's face, this brand new player was like, that's a lot of numbers, and they were still able to block it, but it was just one of those like get their blood up, get their adrenaline up. But I very much agree with the whole match their energy. I remember doing a demo at the anime convention, and a girl who had been playing card games all her life sat down, did the demo, and she's like, "Do you have like some real decks we can play with?" So I pulled out some decks. I'm like, "Yeah, we could play." She goes, "No, no, 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 no. Play for
Real
real."
decks. Yeah.
Like,
oh
okay, and of course I'm still holding back a little bit, but as she kept like understanding and she was figuring things out, I was having to try harder and harder to not let myself fall back, and it was really it that game got freaking intense.
Yeah.
But it is really fun when you can see in their eyes, you see the gears moving, and when it clicks,
Yeah.
and then you see how much fun they start having.
I did a
yes,
demo.
I agree. There's
I did
oh, sorry.
some.
Now I was just gonna mention.
Okay. Go on, I'll let you go first.
Sorry.
All good.
No, I was just gonna mention how we had a similar conversation. This was for fighting games, but it still applies with this. Like the whole you know it only becomes more fun as you do that exact same thing where you start and teach them and you don't do anything and then you just don't you want to make sure you get exactly at their level. You don't want to beat them, but you want to give them like, oh cool, it could be anyone's game. and,
Yeah,
and you know yeah.
But
lose
yeah,
but make it look good,
I
as
had,
Broberg would say.
I had a similar thing last year when I was doing like the Attack on Titan demo kits in Wales. We had people playing the demo like, oh, have you got anything that's a bit more complicated? Then you put out the challenges, and then they go, okay, but I've got this deck. It's like, can we play a real game? It's like, well, if you want to play a real game, fine. I go, here's my Dabby 1 4-check deck. And like, what? I go, okay, cool. Knockdown blow, my next attack gets -3 difficulty and +3 damage. First enhance, my next attack gets +3 damage. Female Titan attacks, it's now an 8 high for 14, and I'll give it +8 damage and for unless you destroy each of your ready foundations. And they go, I'm sorry, what? It's like, you wanted to play a real game.
Yes. God, I haven't heard Davi 1 in forever. My God, I miss that deck.
I miss that guy so much, but I get to claim being the world's best Dabby player till the end of time because he can no longer top a major event.
Hey, don't let nobody steal that from you.
Hey,
Until Retro Worlds and you lose in a Dobby mirror match in finals.
I
I mean,
Dude, we're so excited for retro over here. As I mentioned, we do that like weekly, and when we saw that, like, oh, cool, retro's officially getting supported, let's go. I know we've been doing every year like retro draft league that's been popping off
ooh,
very a lot, and where we just like play with older sets and just like, hey, cool, just build what you want. Our good old friend Tony over here, he's kind of like our guy when it comes to like any older stuff because he's been playing since like the beginning. He's
okay.
one of the OGs that got since like Penny Arcade. So like a lot of
Oh
my
crap!
questions or anything, we were like, hey Tony, help us out with this
The
with this
oldest
old
of
things.
gods.
Yes, so we're very grateful for him.
So who's your favorite retro pick right now?
Like my own personal one, like a
Yeah,
character,
yeah,
Lilith,
your own
Lilith
Lilith.
two. Lilith
Oh,
2
from Street
is
Fighter versus Darkstalkers.
yes, that's my
Okay,
character that
not
is like, hey,
bad.
you want to have a real serious retro match with me? I'll play that one. But outside
Yeah.
of that one, I want to say I got Mai from King of Fighters. Uh,
You gotta narrow that down. There's like six of her.
Playable in Retro 3.
Okay, there's like three of her.
And I would play one building into 2 and 3, so that way I can go into like just make sure everything gets big. Um, but outside of that, we just have like a lot of different funds. But what's another one that I normally play? Elizabeth. Elizabeth is another one that we just
Yes, my
all
girl Queen
mill.
Elizabeth.
Yes, we end up milling everything. We have our other guys playing like rando, just like, hey, cool, just make everything big. Just why not? Everything passes the check, sure.
My most
Uh,
disappointing thing in Louisville was playing into a rando as Twinkle Murdoch. Like,
I,
here, I want you to have 8 momentum so I can OTK you with distraction destruction.
yeah.
Cool. I'm never gonna have 8 momentum, but I'm gonna get like +9/+9 on everything.
Oh my
Fine.
god. You reminded me because one of the decks I used to play a couple of years back when it first came out was Ragdoll, because I would just play Ragdoll Evil, play all the Twinkle Murdoch stuff, get all the momentum, use the once per game, find the one check. Hey, by the way, GG.
By the way, you're done.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, we
I never got a chance to play the Pixie Bob Twisting Azure deck, which was fun because you just play Twisted Azure, then you use Pixie Bob to just go get a bunch of actions and you spam a lot of actions that'll clear themselves or draw more cards. That's why Azure got banned. We got someone in chat saying Eden Ein is their retro pick. Now that
That's a
attacking,
fun one.
now that attacking turn one is no longer a thing, I think I have to retire my Mina one Thermal Blast deck, especially seeing as Thermal Blast is
Well,
also banned.
Thermal Blast is also banned.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I gotta go back and redo my Hermit School video for retro now that they changed the rules on me.
Yes,
Thanks, UVS
it was
Games.
quite the sad thing because our boy Tony, when we were playing Rochester Retro, they decided to unban Mature, and he was so happy about it. But now, getting back into the official ban list, making sure like, all right, cool, she stays down. Like, yeah, no, that's too much power. That's too much power for anybody to hold. Even if you didn't attack turn one,
yeah,
it was like he did a punch build, I believe, and like just mm, make sure he
Yeah,
destroyed us with all the decks.
Mature was not a good character.
I
She was not fair.
I got a bunch of cards on eBay one like a month ago, and I was going through them, and I saw Mature, and I messaged my friend going, "I'm going to play some Retro." It's like, yeah, oh, that's banned. That's on the super ban list because you just sit
Yeah,
there and
that's when like deck building was 59 cards plus character, and it was 59 attack mature.
Yes, yes. I there's remember talks about like we would go to like Tony and be like, hey, why is this band? Is like, do you want me to tell you? Or do you want me to show you?
now, I've just been
Well, it's time for show and tell with Tony.
for Friday's stream. I've been collating all the cards from like the last 20 years, and I'm sure I've got some doubles in my folders. But I'm trying not to look at them, but I came across one that immediately just kind of caught my eye. I'm a big fan of playing Vega, the one that commits in response to a check and says if they pass it, you get to ready. But then I saw Time Man, and I'm like, I just need momentum, and I get to wreck your day. What is this?
Yep,
Yes.
I loved Time Man back in the day. And then his attack, like Time Warp or whatever it
Time
was,
Stop.
well, as long as it's in your card pool, your rival's attack skip, check skip -1.
Yeah,
That card's dope.
yeah. I used to
Yeah,
play it
dude.
in Vega. I'm just looking at it going, if I play Tension Time Man, I just get to laugh at them. uh,
Oh yeah, a lot of the characters got a lot more stronger with the more new stuff that got added over time.
Yeah, I have not put in a lot of retro thought with tension mechanics, but that's something I'm gonna have to go back and look
There are
through.
some dumb things. I'm telling you that.
Oh, I absolutely believe it because it's retro. It's full of dumb things.
Oh yes, oh yes.
But
Um,
getting back, like trying to swerve back onto the point. So if you're a new player, you've done your demo, you've seen the games on there. Where are you sending them after that? Where are you saying for them to start their kind of collection playing journey? What's your recommendations for them to start getting hold of cards?
all right, so that is a great question. Whenever we bring anybody new that, let's just say they just finished the demo and everything, if you're starting from scratch, let's just say it's literally just you in the booth, you can always say, "Hey, we're having red locals this week, at the end of this week, or like sometimes a lot of the conventions were like in the weekend. We're like, hey, are you free tomorrow? Tomorrow we're having our locals. If you come by, as I mentioned earlier, like if the store was nice enough and they have like some extra products, cool. Here's a free deck of your choosing. Or if you have time to build like a deck out of bulk or some extra rares that you have, here I can give you a deck, or sometimes some people, if you don't have time, you can lend them. Like, oh, I have this deck that I don't have. You can borrow it for this locals only, play it around, but you want to send them to locals. Once they're at locals, they can buy one of the challengers, one of the starters. A lot of the times that's what they do. Sometimes they'll buy a couple of packs, or if they're wild enough, they'll buy like a box or two and just build something. Be like, they open the box and be like, hey, you want to help me build a deck? And then you're like, sure, cool. You sit next to them, help them build a deck. Over time, since you know as we've grown, we brought in combat power with us to our events. So we're lucky enough to like we set up our booth and then they set up booth next to us. So if they show up and be like, "Hey, do you want get more cards, more stuff?" Cool, just follow us here to our right. You buy your first starter deck. You'll buy your, whatever cards you need, whatever singles you need to build that deck, and then sometimes we'll deck build within the same place. And then again, you mainly want to tell them to show up to next locals. You want to make some sort of incentive that they want to show up, and that's how they able to get like all the cards that they need for that first deck.
I mean, one of the big selling points of locals is the loyalty points. The fact that when they show up, when they play, they can use those points towards sleeves, dice, cards, promos, playmats, more products. It's as much as I'm not a fan of the Redemption store for new players, it's a good incentive to get them keep coming back to locals.
Yes, the promos definitely help out a lot, especially like the promos that they show up in the loyalty store. They were like I believe I already mentioned a binder. Sometimes we'll bring out a binder to show off to the players, be like, "Oh, look at all these cool stuff." And when they ask, "Hey, how do I get this?" Like, "Oh, you can only get this when you show up to locals." Like, "Hey, you come to locals, you get all these cool things." And then, that's when they start doing it. I think whenever they did the champion cards, for the loyalty store, we ended up getting those, and we put those in the folder. And whenever we show them to some of the new players, are like, "Whoa, what's going on with this?" Like, "Oh yeah, if you win worlds, this is your prizing." And that is already being an incentive for people to start showing up to locals and start taking the game a little bit more serious, because they're wanting the prize that we all trying to sort of go for.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
like one of the biggest selling points for this game that I tell people because I'm like, aside from like money, what could you even get at these other games? You get like what product? Pff, you already get product from your local store. I can make you a character that your friends would want to play. You could become a legend. You
and
could become
that's
Oh yeah.
immortalized.
and that's one of the cool things about regionals that you guys are getting this year is winning regionals gets you a backup now, so you can take over one of the backups that would come out this year, any of the backups we currently have in the game, and you get to slap your face on it. You can have a team combat power. Well, there's not in lower decks, but you can get like a team combat power Sean Gilmore.
Yeah, there's a lot of ideas that we're already thinking like, hey, we dream about like which backup would I be if we win, and we have some interesting takes. So one of us they're like, hey, can I just become Nine Titans? Just become a banned character, yeah, a banned card that we just can't play no more.
And it
Some of
would
us
be
were
fine
like,
if they just gave it unique.
If
right,
Garrett Brett wins one, I need a Nine Titans with him and his 6 character cards behind him.
wow,
Yeah, all the different arts from
All
his,
different arts.
or at least him and all the different like
yeah,
But yeah,
outfits from his different cards.
I
seeing
don't,
as you brought it up,
yeah,
what backup would you want to be if you won regionals?
oh, man, if I were to win one, I would. I'm thinking either Kiyomi or the Mondo Gecko
Hmm.
because air is one of my favorite symbols, and those are the ones that I use the most. So either being like a cool elusive Mondo Gecko to just like do that, or be like, hey, I'm part of the same clan as Kiyomi. Just I'm gonna help out my Mikasa deck with my own backup.
What about yourself, Cam?
I was just scrolling through backups because I figured I'd be the next one to be asked. Since I'm assuming we won't be able to be the shift side of attacks, so you can't be like colossal titan attacks and just be a 10 difficulty backup. Um, man, I would probably want to go with either Anyankopon or uh Cynthia Utrom from Teenage
Ooh.
Mutant Ninja Turtles because just ignoring progressive difficulty or ripping out my rival's hand, those really feel like they would be parts of my strategies. So
Now
that
you
would
see,
just be that's kind of what I would think.
I'm in the opposite camp to that. I think shift attacks should be allowed because when you search
Well, yeah.
when you search backups on UGN, the shift attacks show up. So and it's they are classed as backups, and I 100% want to be Igris. It's just what.
Well,
Yeah, that's a very
if
sought
we are
after.
including
Yeah.
shift attacks, I would either want to be Smiling Titan attacks or Colossal Titan attacks.
Gotta be Igris because it's one that you get to keep just bouncing up and down. The big question is if they do allow shift attacks, do you get art on both sides, or is it just like Igris turning into me like? Eh?
Be like,
I
oh, I'm
would I
playing a
would still
normal. Oh, surprise! There's bread.
I would still say that it just print me the stats on the backup side and just let me be the backup side. I'll
That's
play
fine.
a 10 difficulty Colossus Titan backup with my face on with my big dumb face on it.
So again, veering back towards the point, players have shown up. They've done their demos. They've started coming to locals, but now they want to start getting hold of cards themselves. They've been playing with other people's, and now they just want to get involved more with the complexity of the game through deck building and collecting. Where are you sending them now? Say they've already got their starter deck or their challenger. Would you be sending them into the world of singles? Would you be sending them into the world of sealed? What? How would you help a player advance after they've started attending locals?
Normally, we go with a singles route.
Ooh.
We want to ask them, hey, what deck are you building, or what's your interest in, right? Let's say that somebody wants. We had a player, sometimes it can be as simple as one of our most recent players. He loves solo leveling, so it was as easy as just telling him, "Hey, just buy the playmat, and anything else, like we'll get you the singles for like the foundations that you need, or sometimes maybe an action card that you need, and boom, he was ready." Sometimes it can be a little bit more complicated. We had somebody loving Leatherhead and be like, all right, cool, let's get you like, some of the Leatherhead singles because a lot of times most of the foundations and the attacks can be super, super cheap. But However, if they're like, let's say, a TMNT fan, right? They don't only love Leatherhead, but they want all these other things. Then yeah, probably like a box or two at most is a good start. Usually like one box, get most of the stuff that you need, so that way you get like all the commons and uncommons. And then after you get like your little bulk collection, then you go into the singles of like the higher rarity stuff or like the very specific needs from other sets as well. So as a player, I usually recommend them. Hey, do you love the IP? Cool. All right. Do you plan to build multiple decks? All right, cool. This set is gonna be good for like all the stuff that you need. Uh, Box or two, and then move on from there. And then as they play their first deck, they're gonna have one or two decks as the starter, and then over time, once they grow into the game, they didn't like it more. New releases come out, then they start buying more and more. But I would always recommend just like one or two box to begin with, and then just a couple of singles from there.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Cam?
Well, I can actually speak to this because I was just dealing with some new players yesterday. They did buy a box first because one of them really liked Attack on Titan, so they got the newest Attack on Titan set and kind of made their own decks from there. But what I did is I sent them to UVS Ultra. And I said, just look through this list. I showed them where standard. I said, click standard, click search. That's every card in standard. If you see one you like, you can find it on usually rochesterccg.com. And if you just want to get a couple of cards and then have me build a deck around those for you, I can absolutely do that. But I kind of want them to see what they want, like what catches their eye, instead of just telling them this is what's good. That's why whenever I build players their first deck, I say, what kind of player are you? If you don't have a tie to a specific IP in our game, what play style suits you best, and I'll build you a beginner friendly deck that's around that play style. But I want them to be able to just dive into our game, start looking at things, and be like, oh, this card looks really cool. So let me see if I can build a deck around this. And then they'll usually ask me, and then I'll help them build a deck around that. Like one of them, the guy who likes Attack on Titan, loves the rumbling. He's like, that card is nasty, because I explained how I stomped Jeremy Ray's face in with it because he made me do that. But he did. J. Ray was the lead designer for the Attack on Titan sets, and he made it so that I could play the Rumbling in Smiling Titan. So I hit him with it 3 turns in a row and watched the light die from his eyes. But I told him, I was like, there are so many characters that can run this card. So if you wanted to pick it up, I can build you a deck for it. And I just love seeing them just looking through all the cards and be like, this is cool, this is cool. And then I'll give them like a couple places where they can buy the singles pretty cheap. But if they did just want to be like, I just want to get started, I just want to jump in with both feet, yeah, a box is probably good, like whatever the latest set is, or 2 boxes if it's Guilty Gear because it's a Blitz box. But if they just want to jump in and kind of make do with what they get, I think a box is fine. But I just like enjoying them deep diving it on their own and finding things that spark interest in them, and that makes it feel much more personal, and it kind of ties them to the game a little bit better.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I keep saying that. I need to stop saying it makes a lot of sense.
That's fine.
And if it does, it does.
Yeah, that's your catchphrase.
It's a well reasoned argument, but to me, you've both been very logical with your answer. For me, as good as singles are,
Mine was all about joy, not logic.
yeah. But it's logical joy, especially like with the singles being used to bolster decks they're already playing and stuff like that. For me, nothing beats the pure adrenaline and dopamine rush of opening packs. When people can fall in love with this game if they get their pack, and watching the hype and the people around them when they get a good pull. They even like open team and T, if you pull a Chrome, everyone around you is going to absolutely love it, and you get that kind of rush and hype. But even if you just open a massive meat machine, you've never seen it before, you don't know if it's good for your deck, and you get to have the conversations, you get to find out why these cards are good, why these cards are bad. It can help players grow just as much as playing the game with the singles and things like that by opening the packs, experiencing the cards, and they get and they get prepared. Like as you said, like an hour ago, it sucks when your first time experiencing a card is during a regionals. And if you're just buying singles and just focusing on your own deck or playing against the same locals, you might not come across it. But if you're opening packs, if you're going through it, you come across a lot more cards. You get more aware of interactions. You get more aware of how cards bounce off each other. And you might be inspired to build a whole brand new deck from what you get pulled from sealed product. I do think singles is the best way to go when building a competitive deck. I wouldn't, if I was looking for walk the dog to finish off a deck, I'm not going to go and buy a bunch of Dark Tournament. I'm going to go buy a walk the dog. But if I'm just looking to build a collection, if I'm looking to advance my deck as it is, I want to go for quantity of cards for my money. And I think, for example, Guilty Gear, a case of Guilty Gear has a much higher point of diminishing return than buying singles. Especially like if I buy a box of Guilty Gear, I'm almost guaranteed to get at least one SR, whereas an SR is about a third of the price of a box of Guilty Gear if I was to buy it separately.
True, but I think with at least with my direction when it comes to newer players, I want to get them into this game as cheaply as possible. And sometimes buying a box or two just isn't in the cards, so to speak. So that's why I build and give away a lot of bulk and stuff. But that's why I say, hey, look on UVS Ultra, and then there's a little link for Rochester CCG at the bottom, so you can open that up and see if this card is available, and it could help them get their foot in the door cheaper and easier, at least in terms of newer players.
Yeah. No, that
That
is
makes sense.
yeah, that's completely understandable. But on the same side as me, that's why I think the PVE is one of the best things that UVS has done for the game, because if you a box's MSRP is $120, but most places sell them for say 70 to 80. If you can get people get for Critical Role or for Timothy or for Godzilla once we see the PV because we know it's coming, you can go okay. You want to get more into deck building, you want to get more into going the game. Here's a cool thing we can do. We can go in on a box with 4 people, so $20 each. We all buy a box. We get 6 packs, so you're immediately saving money from the 6 packs because you've saved $10 from getting the packs. And then we're gonna build a deck. This will help them get their head around deck building, card synergies, and then we're just gonna take on a boss. You don't need to worry about what that boss is doing. It's not like they're gonna have enhancers or responses or anything along that lines. And we're gonna work together to take out the boss, and then you get to walk away with your 6 packs of the stuff in there. And if I'm playing where I've already got like a master set of the majority of stuff, it's like here's 6 more packs worth of stuff for you to take away as well, and you've had a cool social interaction, the dopamine of opening the boxes, and you've kind of honed your skills a little bit in every aspect of the game. And that's what I love about that's why PV is one of these big things I like to push for new players and like learning the game experience.
Yeah, sealed play is always a fun format. I know we've done a couple of those every now and then where we host like, all right, cool, we're gonna do like a little bit of a draft league. Let's open buy a box, get a box for all of us. Sometimes we chip in, hey, it's like 4 of us. Let's divide the cost of the box by 4, and then we'll grab some packs and then turn around, make our own little small deck. Like it doesn't even have to be like a full one, and just like do that for fun. We've used those even as our side events over there when we're trying to teach. It is a good opportunity. I do agree that that's a great idea of just like a way to introduce not only like the game itself and the mechanics, but also expose other characters that other people have not seen before. Like hey, maybe I just don't like this character, but I like what it's doing, and that's a way that we've found out like a lot of cool niche strategies or like niche little combos with other characters as well.
Yeah. Cam, you look deep in thought.
No, I'm gonna be real for it. I'm kind of drugged right now. I had to take a lot of allergy medicine because all of this cold has got my sinuses messed up. I am struggling to stay awake right now, so that's why I'm trying to be like really like intense and focused because I can feel like my vision glazing over.
Well,
So
if it gets
I'm
too
just
if it gets
I'm
too
I'm,
bad,
I'm fighting for my life right now, Di.
we won't keep you too much longer then, Cam. But we'll keep going for a
Oh
little.
no, it's cool. We can keep going. But I just wanted to let you know I'm fighting for my life right now.
You got this.
I got this. That and I was also looking up MHA Set One booster boxes online because one of my new players really likes MHA and she's sad that a lot of it's rotating. So I was like, well, we just got this new Hero 2 format announced where you could play all the old MHA stuff.
Yep.
So I found on TCG Players Set One for like $40 a box,
Damn.
which is pretty good.
Yes.
And she loves MHA, so I'm gonna try to convince my more usual locals to be like, hey, you guys want to do like a Hero 2 tournament like once a month, something like that, so that we could play some of these older cards and you know,
Oh yeah,
bring
those
more
events are
people in.
usually super helpful, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that is how our retro started. Like we just did like, hey, we just played the old stuff, have like a fun day to relax and have fun and buy like old boxes as you're doing. It definitely helps out. Not only for like the players, but sometimes even the stores. Like if stores bought like a
Yeah,
bunch of
get
like
some.
older stuff and they just couldn't sell it because now it's rotated. Like, hey, no, we'll buy from you still. We'll play this, whatever format's going out. We're really looking forward to Hero 2 as well to see how that works out. And yeah, we're uh, getting a couple of boxes to like rip out and have everybody enjoy because there's some players that joined relatively new, like about a year ago. So they've never seen the older MHA sets, and it's watching them in action is showing them like a whole new world for them.
You want to hear something crazy? Rochester CCG has a 58 case sets of MHA Heroes Clash Unlimited for $50 a pop.
A case.
Oh,
So you get 6 boxes. Yeah, 58 in stock. An MHA booster box Heroes Clash Unlimited case for $49.99.
an entire case for $50.
Yeah. I mean,
It's the unlimited, so it's where you don't get chromes.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Heroes Clash
that is
did
But
start.
I
insane.
was looking on there for set one boxes,
Yeah.
but all they have is set one a case for 400. But yeah, My Hero Academia Heroes Clash booster box case, unlimited edition, $49.99, and for an individual box, it's $9.99 for a booster
Yeah.
box of
But I
Heroes
mean,
Clash Unlimited.
you got to. Heroes Clash was one of the most bought out products because it's the first time we had chromes. The singles themselves, despite being quite powerful, flooded the market because people were hunting down Chrome. So it does make perfect sense to be like they're kind of expensive.
That in Unlimited, you didn't get chromes.
Yeah,
So everyone wanted only the first
First
edition
edition.
product, so you could try to get that. So a lot of stores were left with Unlimited. I know my local stores were. And that's why another reason I was suggesting, hey, maybe we could do some Hero 2 stuff, so some of our people who haven't been around since then could pick up some older product and enjoy
I
and
mean,
help.
those ones came with the extra credit promos, right? That can also be kind of like a plus.
Some of them did.
extra credit promos were for local play. They came with quirk packs.
Well,
All
there
right.
were also for boxes you could get extra credit promos for buying the unlimited.
But
They sent them to stores to give them
yeah, it
out if
came
you
out
bought
with
unlimited
the
boxes.
star. It didn't come with the case. Kind of thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it was something for stores to give out to help them get rid of unlimited boxes
Yeah.
because everyone just wanted the first editions to go chrome hunting.
If you do find
got it, got it.
unlimited Crimson Rampage, that is actually worth quite a bit because unlimited Crimson Rampage is the only place you can get a foil go for the win. XR go for the win doesn't seem to be in first edition. You can only get it in unlimited.
Wow.
Going with the deep
I
lore
miss
here.
that card. Yeah. Man, I find it hilarious how there's like a lot of people complaining about like, oh, I got a line print over here in my card or something. But then I remember the times where back in the first set of MHA, we got an XR and a full image of a completely different card. I think it was one of the Todoroki's
Giant
attacks
ice wall.
that
Giant
like
ice
its
wall.
XR. Yes, China as well had like a completely different art. And then an Ida attack as well had like, text missing, like an entire enhance missing. So I'm like, oh man, these mistakes have been there, but we
Yeah.
still love them.
The first worlds I played at, I because we didn't get first edition set one here. I picked up 4 giant ice walls because it's the ice storm art on the ice wall. They both have the same symbol. So you play one, it's like, especially when like that's when webcam was all over the place. Like you play an XR giant ice wall. It's like, is that an ice storm or a giant ice wall? I don't know. It could be either.
So you said
Yeah, just trust
unlimited
me.
edition Crimson Rampage, Brett?
Yeah.
So on TCG Player, there's a seller called The Gaming Company
Ooh.
that has almost 500 unlimited boxes for $24 a pop.
Now you see, TCG Player, however, doesn't send to the UK, so that's just sad.
I mean, that's just the first thing, because Rochester doesn't have any Crimson Rampage product in it.
If you want
I
to
guess
see,
they sold out of everything.
if you want to see something very cool, one, and as soon as we're going into the deep lore of weird thing that's happened in the game, this is something that was brought to my attention last year. Let's get AOT Battle for Humanity attacks on air. If you look at the art for, where is it?
Isn't it like High Speed Slash and
High
Whirling something or other?
High speed slash. I don't know if it's
And it's the
world.
secret rare, isn't it?
High speed slash is the secret rare.
No, High Speed Slash is an ultra rare.
Yeah, the
Oh,
5
high speed dive.
Yeah.
High speed dive. High speed dive is the secret rare. And then
Okay.
if you then go to the art on, which one is it? I think it's Protect the Recruits. It's the exact same art.
Yeah. Just Protect the Recruits, they just cut the Titan out of it.
Yeah. So if you go to
What?
protect the recruits and high speed dive, it's the exact same art.
Oh golly! All right. Well,
I
we learned these
remember
things.
I remember
Tyrell pointed out to us last year.
Ty from Ty's House of Cards going on about that on one of our podcasts.
Yeah.
Man, that reminds me of like what was it? I think it was in Girl Power. There were some altarts that they had like fancy altarts, and then there's some like Mount Lady where like the altar is literally the same art just zoomed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the zooming ones are quite cool. When they have like that text, then they have that cool thing in the back. I kind of. Ooh. Not everything in Heroes Clash is rotated out. This is true. Not everything. Not yet, anyway. I mean, not everything in Crimson Rampage is completely rotated out yet. It all rotates in March because we still got League Interview in Standard.
Yep, League Interview and Forcing Surrender.
And the Deku
High value target.
High value target. But
yeah, high value target.
Once again,
there's also the Todoroki one, but no one uses that one.
Oh, Drowning Resentment.
I use that one.
Probably should.
Yeah, Drowning Resentment.
I think it was mainly used to combat combined firepower, but nobody plays it anymore. No one's really messing about with a discard.
I made top 36 in a webcam regional with Fourth Kind using it.
Nice.
The only webcam regional I've ever played.
Steering back towards the point once again. How trying to find the right words for this to also get Cam more focused on the point than not like getting lost in the question. Do you think
I appreciate it.
Do you think we see more players coming from other games, like I said, or is it more IP fans like MHA fans, Godzilla fans who've never touched a card game before joining the game?
I'll let our guest speak first while I think.
All right, fine. Okay, so it depends on the scene where you're from, right? So if I go to a convention and promote the game there, you're gonna find more IP fans. They're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm here because the voice actor of MHA is here," and "Oh my God, you have a card game that has MHA in it? I'm in." Or TMNT, or "Oh my God, I love Godzilla." There's some fans, and there's definitely been players that have joined the game for IP related, stuff. As I just said earlier, we have one player that just joined just because of Solo Leveling. He loves that IP. He wants to be there. He wants all the Sung Jiwoo stuff. We have some players joining in very soon because of Godzilla. Cool, we get more kaijus coming in, and they're like, "All right, cool, I'm gonna start playing that alone." However, and most of our locals, we kind of like do exposure, right? Like they Combat Power has multiple games and locals happening at the same time. So whenever we play Universes, sometimes they'll have like One Place players or Loracana, or they'll have like Riftbound players, and they're gonna be there, and they see us playing, they see us are announcing our pairings or talking about, sometimes we use a TV to put our scores or to show who's being paired up with, and they start looking around and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on with that one?" or "What's this game all about?" We talk to them about it, and then we get those players from other card games getting an interest, and then after like a talk and exposure to it, then they start like learning little by little. So we've gotten both. It just depends on where you exposed it. So if it's at a local store, hey, have other eyes or sit down next to other players. So, while you're playing the game, they look to the side and be like, "Oh my gosh, what am I looking at? What's going on over there? There's all these different things." And if you're in a convention, then yeah, you want to get like more like IP focused players.
No, that's kind of cool, especially if you can put up on a screen. You can have like uh, pairings for round three of Universes, top table Rhino Braun versus Godzilla, and someone's like, "The hell's going on over there?" Kind of, I know.
Exactly.
You got Patriot Games over here who upload daily what's going on in their store, or as the event's going on. So, like on a Wednesday when they have their Universes events, you'll see people on there. They're taking pictures of all the gameplays that go on there. So, people that are interested in card games in the area are going to be looking at the socials, and they're going to see Gundam and Riftbound and Pokemon. They're going to see Universes, and they're going to see Yu Hakusho Foundations being played with Attack on Titan attacks by Izuku Midori, and like, what is this kind of thing? It's something that more stores kind of need to be aware of, because, like I said, when I was talking with the Trading Post guys, they were saying the majority of people that pick up this game without the outside influence of a convention and stuff are people that are already playing Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Gundam, Riftbound, and they come over and they see like, okay, I'll draw six cards, and like, if a Magic player hears the words, "I'll draw six cards," they immediately their ears are going to pick up like, what game lets me draw six cards?
Same with
Yes.
Yu-Gi-Oh players. As a former Yu-Gi-Oh player, I can attest.
Yeah.
And for the funny thing I have about one of my locals has like the videos where you could put up the like the pairings and stuff like that and the round timers. When they were first picking up Universes, they went to YouTube and they just typed in, Universes, looking for videos for Universes to play in their store. And a friend of mine, one of my locals, took a snapshot of what they were showing, and it's me in my bright red silk pajamas teaching you how to build a stain deck on their TV in their store, and I'm like, "Oh my god. I really need to start wearing normal clothes when I record."
That always confused
And
me
they were
when
like, "Yeah, we just searched Universes, and that's just what came up, so we put it on there, and we just let your playlist run." I'm like, "I'm in my pajamas in all of those videos."
Oh yeah. Sometimes it comes down also to the store as well to like promote the game more, because I know, for example, Pokemon, Magic, they don't need like any more promotions. They don't need any additional posters. Sometimes, people already know, hey, this game is popular. They know what they're going for. But for Universal's wise, they'll have like some of our stores put in all the posters. Every poster that they get, they put it out. And sometimes if we don't have the pairings, sometimes what I get to do is like, oh, cool, we're having a Guilty Gear pre-release. Let's put on the Guilty Gear music videos over there, and people start batting an eye and be like, oh my god, what's going on? And while we're just playing Guilty Gear with like all the music going all around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is really important to have people in the stores that are invested in the game because up until recently, one of the stores that I go to, like no one really there knew how to play the game, and one of the managers finally approached me and was like, "Hey, I want to learn how to play. Could you teach me?" And then I could help like spread the word about the game. I'm like, that would be so helpful. You have no idea.
It is a lesser known game. I moved from one town in the middle of nowhere to a town slightly less in the middle of nowhere. You went from like one nerdy collectible store to a place that's got three or four. One place does actually carry universes here. It had Heroes of Exandria. I was like, cool, but it's one that doesn't have anywhere to play. And then I went down to the place that has something to play, and I was like, oh, I've just moved to the area. I'm interested in playing. The guy stood up, all enthusiastic. He's like, what do you play? I went, I play Universes, and he sat down immediately and went, yeah, no, we don't play that here. We don't, if it isn't one of the big three, we don't carry it because it has no staying power. I'm like, yeah, cool.
You should be like, but your competitor's selling it, so can we at least have your tables to play?
Yeah, no, trying to get a hold of like customers, it's always a rough one for a lot of the stores. I know I've gotten through like 7, 8 different stores, like before we landed into like the different stores that we have now. But like I've pitched the idea of universes to multiple stores, and generally, the main idea is they want a local group to show up. So, for example, one of our locals where we go to chill, it's not even a card game store. It's just a store that sells tabletops, and it's just a place to be there. They can sell like card games, and so far they've only done like mainly universes and Magic, but the only reason why we were able to be there was because when I talked to the owner, they're like, "Hey, I am down for whatever this is. Just bring me people. Make sure that I get some sales. Like I don't mind if I sell it all, like in one go. I just want a constant 4, 6 players every week. And at first it was just like 3, 4 players, and we just go there every week, even if we don't pop it off, even if we don't do much, we just go there, buy 1 or 2 packs each, and then we're just like hanging around, play testing and everything. And over time, those 4 players became 5, and then they became 7, and then 8, and then little by little. If you show a store, hey, me and my friends are gonna come here every single week, can you carry the product for us? Can you get some stuff for us to show up? And then if you show that loyalty to the store, then the stores will be willing to not only get the products but to start running the events. It's all a little bit of dedication from both part, but one of the big things that if you want to start a community or if you want to start like a big store, you gotta show up every week with you and a couple of friends and be like, hey, we want to make sure that this works for you, and we're here and we're determined to play every week.
I'm gonna show like my introverted side here. The issue I have with that is I can go to the store and I can show up. I don't have friends. I no legitimately.
Yeah,
I
mood.
I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning because my son's school. I drive an hour to drop him off at school. I come back. I take care of my partner, make sure they're fed, they're watered, everything's going on there. Then I get on with my carer duties. Then I do a little bit of editing. Then I drive an hour to pick him up, drive an hour back, make our dinner, get Flynn ready for bed and everything. By that point, it's 9 o'clock, so I do a little bit more editing, and then I go to sleep. I don't have the time to go try and build a universe's community on top of everything else I'm kind of doing at the minute. And I also don't have. Well, however I come across it, like confidence in my content and at conventions and when I'm playing at regionals, that's a persona. If I want to make friends, I have to go out there and try to connect with people, and that's a scary thing to do in a whole new place. And so when I was like here, I was like, cool. Maybe I can meet some people that already play, and I can build on what's already here. But it's a case of not only do I have to find people that are going to show up regularly to a store that I've never met before, I have to find the people to ask them to show up to a store regularly. It's a lot of trust, it's a lot of work, and if it fails, I feel like I'm just going to cry.
That has
I
been my
know,
life for the past 7 years, my dude. It has
I
been
know.
me and, like, 2 other, like, hardcore people going from the store 45 minutes away from me to the store 2 hours from me every week. And, my core 3 came down to just 1 guy, and then I got 2 more, and then so it's just us 4, and now we just got 2 new players. And then I had one store that I pitched it to that's closer to me that says, "Yeah, if you can show me 10 to 12 people a week, I'll start investing." I'm like,
That's a lot.
"How do you expect me to get people to come to your store for this game if you don't carry the game? And you
Yeah.
want 10 to 12 people? Fuck off."
Yeah, yeah. That's
I get you're here to make money, but come on now.
yeah. It's definitely hard. I know we have dropped some stores because of similar issues, and it's not easy. Like I know exactly what you mean as well. When I first started, it was literally just me and a friend. It was just two of us. And mind you, that one friend, even though I'm still good friends with him, he doesn't play the game anymore. So like, but back then, me and him, we went to a store and we tried it out and we just played, just me and him. And it was over time. We met another guy, Jordan, great friend from ours. Um, and then cool, now we're three, and then started going on over there. I ended up meeting Tony when now it's like so, but even getting those four people again, it took some time. So it's not something that it's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna try this and it's gonna work by next week.
Yeah,
It's never easy. And trust me, as much as I talk and as much as I you know try to be like this, it's also very hard for me to speak. So I know the same pain that both of you feel of
it's because a
like,
lot of us card gamers are just introverts and we don't actually like talking to people.
yeah, no, it's difficult. It's difficult. That's why whenever you find another player, it's like, oh my gosh, you like the same things as me? Cool. We enjoy and have
I,
fun, but I know exactly what you mean.
I've been playing different card games casually and competitively for the last 26 years, and my findings are that the majority of people that play these games are some kind of introvert and some kind of neurospicy. And the reason that we can socialize so well playing card games is because it's a common interest that we can talk about and bond over, and we don't have to try and force conversation. We have this one topic we can always default to and build relationship with people from there.
Now, hopefully, this helps out a little bit because I know you mentioned, Brett, that you say that you don't know that many people, and that's a common problem that I've seen. Um, let's say that you don't know anybody that plays universes that you want that can help you show up. One thing that has helped me out is I also play other card games, right? I started with Yu-Gi-Oh, moved on into Pokemon, then dealt with Magic, and then dealt with like other games over time. And what I would do would be like, hey, I'm gonna go to Pokemon locals, play my match. My match is over. Is there's still like 20, 30 minutes left. I can always like, hey, you want to try something cool? A new want to see something cool? And then I kind of do like a small demo, and then take opportunities like those of like, hey, if you don't find other people because it's not they're that well known, sometimes that little courage, and it's very hard. I have to push myself internally and be like, just do it, don't think about it, just do it. Just ask me like, hey, want to try this Eremi Casa demo real quick? You want to try this cool game? And then make those small connections from other locals as you're playing the game. That's worked with me recently
Yeah.
with Riftbound. Sometimes I'm playing Riftbound at my locals, and there's some guys that they're like, hey, I'm done with my game. Want to see these cool champ cards? Want to know how these happened? And expose universes through in other card games.
Similar to what Cam does with his binder of characters. The main issue I've got with that is similar to like when I went to London for the Grand Archive Ascent to check it out, or the Riftbound release event I did, is that the majority of the time I have Flynn with me because my partner is writing or promoting their game or is at a convention or has other things they need to do. So when I get that downtime, it's more checking my 8-year-old is okay rather than can I teach you universes at this time, because I would love to do that,
Fair
but
enough.
dad duties come above everything else. But no,
Oh yeah.
mentioning
Yeah.
like
Adulting sucks.
ah, that adulting does suck, but I can never complain about keeping an eye on my kid, and two, checking on what he's doing because he's always doing something very interesting. He likes to take pre-established games and start doing stuff himself on top of them. We had a Pokemon
That's
game
neat.
a couple of weeks back where I got my 6 Pokemon and he got 16 because he was sick of losing to me.
He's like, nah, this is Safari Zone rules.
He even
Right.
got Robin to buy him fake cards that were overpowered from a store that we found that was like selling cheap fake cards so kids could just play them. And he's like, "These are my cheat cards for when I need to win." He was fully owning up to what he's doing. Yeah, so
That's hilarious.
but
But go
but
ahead.
yeah, that's kind of the thing. But like you mentioning local smaller cons. I hadn't considered that before. I had considered trying to like get in touch with bigger cons, and there was one that I was working with, but then that con stopped kind of doing stuff. But like you said, nerd conventions, gaming conventions, Comic Con isn't just the big events anymore. Every town, city kind of does their own version. I know the place I live in does a small version, and I hadn't considered just reaching out to me like, can I set up a game demo table and just demo this game for people that are coming to the convention? That's probably what I'm going to do at some point next week because I've got some other stuff I need to get done first. Is just start reaching out to them and be like, yeah, can I just come and demo this game?
Yes, and it's definitely more easier on a smaller con rather than all the big ones because the smaller ones are usually like owned by like local people, and they're super easy to reach.
Yeah,
It's sometimes it's as easy as an email or just like hey, and 90% of the times they'll just since you're not a vendor, you're not selling anything, they're just gonna give you the space for free. And usually you can also be like try to be reasonable with them and like, all right, cool, can I just do this or that? And
yeah.
they're very, very, you know,
Yeah.
understanding of any situation.
If I was trying to get in touch with like MegaCon or ReadPop or Dokumi or Japan Expo, it'd be a case of you need to pay for this. But a local village Comic Con is about the community aspect. Yes, they want to get the money side of it, but if you just go there, are you selling anything? No. Are you charging? No. I just want to try and find more people to play this game with me and build a community. They might feel a little bit sorry for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a good point about like sometimes bigger cons can be expensive, and honestly, that depends on the con, right? So I'm gonna give two examples. In my city, we have one con called San Japan. That's one of like the biggest ones going on in the city, and even though it's big, they don't charge me because I'm not a vendor. So
Oh,
they're like, you're not selling anything. You don't have to do nothing. All right, cool. Here's the setup. Another one, uh, I believe it was Kawakan. They are more recent. They are, but they're still very big. They were trying to charge me for a table because they were charging not because of if I was to sell, but they were charging me for the area. At that point, I was able to like go to my local store and be like, "Hey, would you be willing to, have your own booth in there? You would go as a vendor, sell whatever you need to sell, but give me some space." So that way I can just do the demo, and right after the demo, I send the people to you. I get people teaching demo booths, and then you would get the sales from universes because right after they would want to learn the demo, they would go and buy the new cards of the game that they just learned. So there's always opportunities, right? So like, you know, you just gotta figure out ways and talk with like more people, reach out. So like
yeah.
if they don't charge you, cool. If they do charge you, talk to your local store, see if you can work something out
It
together.
that's a very cool synergy you kind of just brought up. Like if someone comes and gets a demo, you just go, "Oh yeah, buy a starter deck or a challenger deck or something from this store," and they'll throw in an additional booster just because you did the demo, and they go there, and they're gonna get the money, and it's a great way to take people to the store as well, and it's those kind of synergies that we really need in this game. I know I keep going back to it, but the fact that Grand Archive was doing this massive event next to a massive con like MegaCon drew people in. And there were people I specifically talked to, like, oh no, I'm not here for the event, I'm here for MegaCon. I came to sit down because there's chairs here. And then I jumped in on the demo because it's something to do, it's something really interesting. Is when you've got a game like this that has so many iconic IPs, it would be so cool to just partner up with the Comic Cons and the conventions and like the big ones that the stars can't feasibly do to get those demos out there. Because
Yeah, not just Gen Con.
yeah, Gen Con's great, but New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, uh, going wider field to like to EU, Dokumi is so big and culturally relevant for uh, IPs and like anime and manga. For their artist alley this year, everyone had to enter a raffle. Didn't matter how big or small you were. If you wanted a table at Dokumi, you had to enter a raffle and be randomly get one because of how big Dokumi has now got. It's insane.
Holy crap.
Yeah, no. One of the cool things about it, like even doing universes at conventions, is the fact that let's just say that you have a voice actor that is, let's say Leah Clark that does the voice actor of Toga, for example. They have seen their fair share of exposure to universes to the point that like sometimes they'll even carry character cards. Or if not, you can just be like, hey, there's this card game. Here's a character card of the character that you play. Sometimes we have a couple of bulk of characters and hand it out to them, or if not, sometimes the stores that are there at the conventions be like, "Hey, you want to get this cool card? Here you go. Here's a character card, and so that way you can get it signed by the voice actor. You have
Yeah.
like something for you to remember this day by." And sometimes some people being like, have their character card with their signature because that's like their first experience with universes. Just have like that physical copy of a character with a signature.
Yeah. One of the cool things we did do last year is when Critical Role had the pop up shop, we had the wedding promos in that pop up shop in New York. And I know it's a bit early for us to be doing it here, but there are pop up shops popping up globally for the 20th anniversary of Fairy Tale. And I would love to see the cards popping up in there. It's like my two wants this year for Fairy Tale is to it be like a gateway into the Asian markets, which we don't have anyone in there, and to having Todd Hapacorn know this game exists.
I don't know who that is.
A very good voice actor that's been voice acting for a very long time and has done some very iconic roles.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
we
no, for sure. I do know. Oh, sorry.
yeah, go for it.
No, I was gonna say that it is surprising because there's still like a lot of the voice actors they are so focused on their job and they have like so many things to work on. They don't even realize, a lot of the things that they're in, right? There's like 9 out of 10 times whenever I go like, oh, here's the universes card of the character that they play. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that they have a card game with my character in it. And, like, it's a generally happy expression a lot of the times. It's only like I think like the most popular ones that get exposed a lot that they're like, oh yeah, I already know, or some of them actually do know about card games, so they've never played universes, but they know of universes, and they're like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting to sign this one. I think it was like what? I think it was Mina, the voice actor of Mina, that ended up being like that.
Oh,
Or what was it? But there's a couple of
yeah.
actors that they were like so excited about.
I did this to Bruce Campbell last year. I got to meet him at a horror convention, and I had my Combat Ash signed. And he just looked at it. He goes, "Where the hell did you find this?"
Oh my god, I am so jealous of you.
And I was like the second to last person he saw that day, and I was like, "Yeah." And what's hilarious is you were so strong that you were banned before you could be in any official tournament. He goes, "God, I hate it when that happens. Why did they do this to me?" So that was cool, but I was also tired because I was standing in line for 8 hours. Because,
Oh
like
yeah,
Brent says, there's nowhere to sit.
It,
oh yeah.
it's not just
Some
like universes for aspect. So voice actors just love it when you know them from obscure roles. Uh, One of the first conventions I went to, I was a massive Outlaw Star fan, and if you know the anime Outlaw Star, fair play to you. It kind of got overshadowed by Cowboy Bebop. And Wendy Lee and Richard Epcar were going to an event, and Wendy Lee's done a bunch of voices, and Richard Epcar is mostly known for the Bleach King, like Bleach King of the Quincy's, as well as Zengetsu. But he did the random voice of a dragon alien in Outlaw Star, and I was just chatting to him. And I was getting like Doom Blades from Magic the Gathering sign because I said they look like Tetsuga Genshos. Before I go, I absolutely loved you in Outlaw Star. And he's like, what? And I said, oh, you played the dinosaur general alien in Outlaw Star. He's like, no one has ever mentioned that to me. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the anime.
No, I know exactly that. Oh my god, you unlocked a memory for me, dude. So, this happened about like 3 or 4 years ago. There was this smaller convention, and they were bringing out the voice actor. He does Ace in One Piece, like a very very famous character. And then I go in, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, I want to get this something signed. It's like, all right, cool. So you love Ace? Like, no, I'm here for Gunhead. Can you sign my Gunhead for me? And he's like, oh my god, no one knows about Gunhead. How? He was so excited. He's like, dude, can I take a picture with him? Like, whoa, whoa, a voice. Sure, sure. He ended up taking a picture with me with the Gunhead sign, and it just you can see that it made his day, bringing up a character that they enjoy doing this characters that are not as big as the other ones, and when you bring it up to them, they're like all happy and excited. So like, dude, it reminded me just like that.
Yeah, it's just absolutely great. But yeah, we're getting close to 2 hours. Cam needs to have a nap. I think we'll start to wrap up. It's been absolutely great having you on, Juan. Like I said, you're welcome to come back anytime. We'll have to definitely try and jam some games in at some point coming up towards because I want to see this uh, Vash deck coming up. If
Of course, I'd love to show you.
yeah, if anybody wants to see more of Combat Power and the team, is there any social media? Is there any like content that they can check out?
For sure, deck check. For any of the videos those are my boys Nolan and Kang. They are up and coming, content creators. Definitely help them out, check them out. If you're on Instagram and or Facebook, there's also the Combat Power website for any of the singles. They have like a really good selection, and especially if you're going to Worlds, we will be there. So make sure to come by and say hi. And yeah, no, again, I'd love to jam some games with you. There's plenty of more stuff that I'd love to talk about, right? I can say, hey, as any of the fun fan stuff that I've made, as I previously talked about earlier, we've messed around with like fan sets, or even our own whatchamacallit, our own formats. There's our own little fun format that we've been working on and love to show you about it. But maybe once we have a little bit more fun, more time.
Yeah, no. As I said to everyone, you're more than welcome to come back anytime. Uh, as for like a fan format thing, if you want to, yeah, I'm more than willing to set a time aside where we can talk about the format, jump in and try and play a couple of games. That sounds like really cool content. Uh, I'm also a little bit burnt out because I've just not only downloaded but correlated like 1,250 cards from the game ahead of Friday's stream. Because for those people that are watching this and are unaware, on Friday I will be doing a tier list for every character ever printed in the game, and I'm pretty sure thanks to Platinum and stuff, there's some doubles, but I'm too lazy to go through them all. I've limited some doubles as I saw them. I'm sure we can sort that out on Friday.
This is why you don't make promises you can't keep, children.
So I got messaged as I was doing it, going, okay, so what are we doing for 2,000? I went, I'm not going to hit 2,000. Then I saw I'm at 1,400. I went, God damn it. So
That's
yeah.
the price of success, baby.
So
Keep supporting UK versus.
Absolutely. Keep supporting UK versus.
yeah, I'm happy for it. I'm great to see people like jumping on. It's just the fact that I've got up 500 subs in 2 weeks, and it's great to see. I'm glad people are enjoying the content and like loving the reveals and the content around the cards and the state of the game. As long as people keep,
I mean, you've earned it, dude. You work hard.
As long as people keep enjoying it and are having fun, I'm having fun doing my videos on like the IPs coming and stuff like that. It's been a mad 3 years of doing this, and I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I keep enjoying it. As for you, Cameron, how's your What If series coming, and have you got any cool stuff coming out soon?
I need to record. I did finish actually early this month. I finished my next What If, but I do need to film it. And this one was a little bit more difficult for me
Ooh.
because it's a much more well-known character than my previous one. But honestly, other than that, I've kind of been a little bit burned out. If being completely honest, so I've been a little bit struggling for content, and then with just like some being sick and stuff like that, I've been kind of not recording much. But I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things next month.
That's fair. I'm trying to get ahead because half term's coming up for Flint, so that's a week where I don't get to just sit and record stuff, but it is a week where I don't have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So, twists and roundabouts. At the minute, I have got content lined up outside of the Mondays where I put our podcast up. I've got content up until the 19th of February lined up.
Like I said, you work hard.
Yeah,
Hey, 2 weeks, let's go.
yeah, and if anyone wants to go watch all that stuff now, you can sign up to become a member and get access to all of these videos and anything I upload early, which is really cool. But we're gonna leave it there. Gonna let Cam go get a nap. Thanks for being here, Juan. And like,
Thank
you. Let me get this massive stream out of the way, and then we'll set up some time, probably after Worlds. Let you guys focus on Worlds in a minute, where we can get these fan formats going for a video, but we'll definitely get some Vash games in before Worlds, so you can see if it's Worlds viable.
For sure. Love to show you the great stuff that I have cooking.
Nice. I'm gonna go.
Remember to stay hydrated, Brett, for that stream.
Oh, I'm gonna need to get. I'm gonna have to try and dig out my massive water bottle that I took to Worlds last time. But anyway, we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks everyone for the support that got me to the 1K subs for this massive stream. It's been great meeting everyone since making content and having people recognize me. It's been great being able to chat with everyone. Like Cam, like Juan, like every other content creator in the community. It's been great doing the collabs. And I'm looking forward to keeping making more content. And for theories, news, and more, win, lose, or draw, keep it with UK Versus, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Oh, I lost it.